there's been a lot of talk about whether or not Ultimate has been just getting countered, that maybe Ultimate came onto the scene, he had his plays, and he was able to find success, and then once teams figured out exactly how Ultimate was playing, they were capable of countering him, and now he's been nullified, and he's gonna struggle. And, well, yeah, I think there's some merit to that. I've looked at his stats, and I mean, the first 40 maps he played on Liquid, which is like the first couple of months, he had something like a 1.16 rating, and in the last 2 events he's played, he's at a 0.87 rating and seriously struggled. Now, part of that is because, well, Liquid have struggled, and it's hard to do it. It's like kind of chicken or the egg to some extent, but looking specifically at gun versus gun rounds, I've tried to isolate rounds where Ultimate has the op and see what's going on. Now, when I've looked at the stats, his T-sides seem relatively similar in terms of he was kind of like 10% positive KD. His first kill, first death seems to be roughly the same as it was before. There's just a lot less gun rounds because Liquid is losing, and there's, not nearly as many maps, right? So I think on T-side, Ultimate is doing roughly the same, but on CT side, he's doing much worse. In fact, on gun versus gun rounds, he's 29 in 37 in his last 15 maps played or so, and he's just not finding entries nearly as often or as successfully as he was beforehand. And I think that's exactly where you would expect Ultimate to be countered. Specifically on how he goes for his openings, I think he can absolutely get anti-stratted by teams, and I think Na'Vi is a team that seems to have done so pretty successfully. In fact, it seems like Spirit is the team that did so the worst, which is, based on my knowledge of Na'Vi and Spirit, completely holds up to exactly what I would expect. But this time around, I mean, he had an opportunity. The question is he getting countered or is he just having a bit of a downswing? And these two things might be related. He starts getting countered, he might have a bit of a downswing off of that. That seems fairly reasonable. But at the same time, I think you can have a downswing, kind of shit just happens, maybe you were just having a lot of confidence to begin with. He did say tier 1 is a lot easier than I expected or something like that. I can't remember exactly what he said. Like, that's an entry he could maybe have found, although I've seen lots of oppers miss that shot. I think it's like one of those shots that's not the easiest. In fact, I just watched an opper miss the same pick twice in the same game, but he did have an opportunity there in the previous round. He also had an opportunity. So I wanted to examine especially the difference between, is he getting countered or is he just missing? And he's being given some opportunities. Now, at the same time, Ultimate was, when I watched him during the successful periods, he was never hitting every op shot to begin with anyways. It was never a matter of like, Ultimate is hitting every single shot. He was missing a decent amount, but his rifling was really solid, and he got lots of opportunities, right? So if I see him miss a shot, I'm not going to say that he definitely landed that before. I was just wondering if he was double scoped here and didn't see through the smoke and someone was visible, but it looks like maybe literally someone was visible. Why are you double scoped? He's double scoped, right? No, it's a single scope. Okay, never mind. Was he double scoped? No shot. Nade throws. Okay, yeah, he was just single scoped, and I think he got unlucky because he was aiming too far to the right. Yeah, this guy is completely visible. They're both op. What? Why are they both opping? Oh god, that's a free kill. Okay, I mean that's just kind of unfortunate. Like that's somewhat unfortunate. And then he's just not in the greatest position here. Although Naf gives him a good. I mean, there's not too many other places for him to be looking when he jumps up there, but I'm not trying to like overanalyze like every miss that Ultimate has. The question is he getting countered? That round, I think he had the right idea, and it nearly worked out, but he didn't hit a shot. Wasn't a free kill by any means. I think in the previous round, he also had a pretty decent opportunity to get a kill and just couldn't do so. One of the reasons this game was really decent to look at, because I tried to go through a variety of games and look for ones where he didn't have like the best game ever, but there was lots of buy rounds. Well, he has the op very consistently in this game, despite the fact that Liquid lose by quite a bit, right? And there's a couple of things that actually end up happening throughout this game, including this Alexi B lurk through of the mid smoke, right? This I mean, this is a play that people go for, absolutely, but this is also a play, I think it could be impacted by something they potentially know either about Liquid's rotations or Ultimate's rotations. And that's one of the things to keep in mind, that it's very possible that part of the reason Ultimate, if he is getting countered by his opponents, part of the reason he might be getting countered is because his teammates aren't doing a great job of making it look the same when he's in a location and when he's not. You know, maybe they're not throwing the same utility, maybe they're throwing certain flashes when he's there and certain flashes when he's not, whereas opponents are able to get a read, and that might not even be on him, or it might be on him that he's not communicating the problem there, but it certainly may not be on him, or it may be that, you know, in a situation like this, I don't think that's a play that Alexi B never goes for. And I think for the most part, when going for these types of plays, I don't think you're going to be seeing plays that these teams never go for against any other team, but plays that they'll go for a little bit more often because they know there's a decent chance that's going to work out for them in this specific situation. And I wanted to watch the end of this round because it was a 2v2 and Liquid just ended up saving. I suppose that's exactly why you had Ultimate get so many ops, because he was just constantly, his team was just saving every round, right? So, I mean, this is 5-1, but we've got 4 gun rounds now for Ultimate with the op, and he is yet to find an entry, or I don't even think he's found a kill at the op. It was interesting when I've seen a lot of Ultimate's games, like some of his better games have been Ultimate with a rifle, right? So he is a player that you would think might be impacted a little bit less by his team having a downswing than other oppers, but of course he has been fairly heavily impacted. Now, I mentioned, I believe at the start, but I'll mention again just in case I forgot, the sample size isn't huge, but at the same time, the downswing is very large, specifically on CT side, so it's it is worth noting, you know? So last round he went for the play over towards long. This round he's gonna go right back to opping towards middle. You know, you've got Na'Vi on pistols here, so this one actually didn't even get caught on my filter because I was really looking just for gun versus gun rounds. Those are what I really care about when it comes to an opper. That's where they should shine and get lots of entries. And, you know, it happens. You know, that shit happens. But this is one of the rounds I was actually primarily interested in because Liquid have been playing pretty aggressive in towards tunnels for the majority of this game. This time around, they're going to send Ultimate in towards lower, and it looked like he had a pretty decent play. He even dodges the flash here, spins back around, and just, I mean, I don't think that's a counter. I think that's just kind of a standard play. Like, if we look at that from Ime's POV, I'm guessing there was nothing too crazy here. He just comes down around the corner, jiggles out. I mean, he's trying to jiggle the corner. That doesn't look odd to me. I'm trying to justify if that's something that, you know, he wouldn't do against other players, or like maybe he knows that Ultimate's like, it's very possible that Ultimate has a limited set of openings, and so it's like, well, they know that there's only 4 openings he goes for. If he's not going for one of those, then he's going for another one of them. And I think actually, based on my sample set, when I look at Ultimate games, it does feel like he goes for aggressive plays a ridiculously high % of the time. And so I think it might be realistically possible that that is actually exactly the case. Even if you look at Monacy, who could go for aggressive openings almost every round of an entire game because he's that good and it would probably work, doesn't go aggressive every single round because, one, your opponents can start to read it, and 2, you're not giving cover and protection for your teammates, right? Like, sometimes you need to have your opper just play a position passively so that your opponents walk into him, and that way that when you're there with a rifle and there's no opper there, your opponents are a little bit more timid about actually walking into it. And if your opper's always going for an aggressive play, then, well, they're gonna find him on the map, and then they're gonna know that they can walk into that player, right? So there needs to be some balance in aggression, being aggressive and being passive, and I think it's very possible, based on especially what I see from Ultimate on CT side and Nubis, where I've seen him have games where he's just constantly failed his aggressive plays and then continued to go for more. That wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. And this is one where I kind of see, like, I'm kind of getting that. I didn't notice that initially, but I'm kind of getting that when I'm looking at Ultimate in this game as well, because if you look at these last few rounds I'm going to show you, it almost feels like Na'Vi know what he's doing. So if you look at what happens here, I mean, Twist even gets spotted with an op in middle. JL comes back around and throws this lurk smoke towards B and just smokes off Ultimate. Although I was wondering if Ultimate got in front of it. Ultimate does push out in front of it. So JL hasn't thrown that smoke all game. In fact, he throws this smoke twice, and both times he throws it are the rounds where Ultimate is in tunnels. And that smoke doesn't really do all that much if Ultimate is in this exact location. It doesn't feel like an amazing counter to Ultimate's play. But at the same time, it's a little odd that he only throws it when Ultimate is in this exact position. Now, it might be that Twist has the op here, and because Twist has the op, Twist almost wanted to do a bit of a bait, where he made it seem like that Ultimate was opping mid. He took the shot, and maybe the whole point there, because I didn't notice this when I was looking at it earlier from a 2D replay, maybe the point was, okay, well, if I lurk smoke, we're going to draw the op off of middle, which is like going to help us out there, and it actually kind of baited JL into doing that play. But he does the exact same thing again, either this round or next round. So they actually do the same smoke the final 3 rounds of the half. And all 3 rounds, Ultimate is going for the exact same play. So this time around, Ultimate got clipped crossing. He gets towards tunnels. He gets naded. Then JL's going to smoke it. And Ultimate's just going to get right ahead of it. And that's actually going to be Ultimate, I believe, his first entry of the game, his second kill of the game. Not only finds that one, they've got twists over towards A. Ultimate will get the rotate over, and he's actually going to find multiple kills in this round. So despite starting out the game not doing too hot, he's actually, I mean, his aim still feels like it's pretty on point when he gets into these positions in the mid round, but certainly in the beginning of these rounds, he's not been in the best of positions of all time. I mean, this round he literally started with 15 health. And the following round, I was thinking this might be a spawn-based thing where he just had the best spawn a few times in a row. He actually doesn't have the best spawn the first 2 times, but he does this time around, so he goes for the exact same play again. And again, he gets ahead of it, so he just gets the exact same angle as last time, goes a tiny bit further, but he actually just sets up Naf, so Naf ends up walking into tunnels, and once Naf gets in here, he just backs his way up and everything's fine. It's Naf that actually makes contact. So maybe it's like a liquid play where they knew that this was going to be effective against Na'Vi because they just run literally the exact same play 3 rounds in a row, despite it being spotted out at least one of those 3 rounds, right? But then they end up into a 3v4. Ultimate's on the wrong side of the map here, and it's not the greatest position of all time, right? But he actually will get something done here as well, with a really nice peek on a Wonderful before getting traded, right? So I didn't think it was fair to get out with only watching 1 game, so I wanted to check this one against Vitality. And obviously, I wasn't trying to pick out from the best games possible, right? I was looking for some games where he got countered a bit, so keep that in mind. But at the same time, this is a play that I know I commented myself when I watched a game of Ultimate before that he was going for this play a little more often than he should. That it felt like he was trying too hard to go for that exact play. I think it was against FaZe that he did that. And so it is a little funny to see him get caught going for that exact same play. If I was to posit my opinion here, I think it might just be that Ultimate is too aggressive, that he just goes for aggressive plays too often, and there's only so many aggressive plays you can go for, you know, on any given map, right? But it's one of the funny things is, though, there is one play he's got on this map that seems to work every fucking time, and even looking through these games now, still seems to work every time, even though it's obvious that people know that he likes to do it. So he's got an op yet again. I mean, last round they actually lost, but they managed to maintain the op for him. He's gonna go for, I don't know, but this is aggressive. It's not like hyper aggressive. He's not pushing all the way out, but I'd still call this an aggressive play. And this is one where he just misses. And this is what I was kind of thinking might be a major factor, where he's just missing shots that he normally should be landing, or he normally does land. And that's going to make it look a lot worse. Especially, I was thinking it might be a combination of missing some shots that he normally lands, combined with his team just doing worse, right? That's just a miss, I think, yeah. I think that one is just a straight up miss. Ultimate, again, going back towards mid. I mean, there's only 3 places you can go on the map, A, B, and mid. Well, I guess you can go E-box also. But I'm guessing what happens in this round specifically is that they actually know that the op was saved. The op wasn't saved. Okay, I was thinking they knew the op was saved because they're just playing like they're looking around for an op. But in this case, He gets mollied, re-peeks, posts up. Maybe the scope could have maybe been heard from Mezzi. I'm not exactly sure on the if that's like heard from that exact distance, but just like a really solid clear from Flamesy to push Ultimate out of position. And now Ultimate has 15 health. And I mean, there really wasn't anything he was going to do to win this round for his team anyways. Even if he grabs that kill, they lose B, it's over. So I don't think it really actually matters all that much. But he does end up dying at the end of this round, so yeah, nah, you know, nothing he can do there. So this is kind of the play I was talking about when I said he has one play that works really well, although I'm talking about like the boost to actually see outside of B main. They do really set him up for these kills in towards main here pretty often, and he seems to be great at taking what is kind of an awkward duel, aiming that far down on people. I see a lot of oppers miss those shots, even though they're kind of like gimmies at times, but he hits the shot, insta entry, which is really what you want out of Ultimate. I think when you have someone with the op that plays this aggressive, you're really looking for him to find as many entries as possible. Lick would give him lots of opportunities to do so, and he just needs to land the shots. All right, this is the play I was talking about. They all know he likes to do it. They all know it. They know it's coming. It still works fucking perfectly every time. He never misses that shot. I've seen him hit a pixel of someone through the corner of the wall for 99 damage before. That he is, if there is a GOAT at picking that angle, it's gotta be Ultimate. He is the OG. But this round he'll go for something slightly different. Actually drops his utility in towards the B site, which is, I think, a good idea in this. In certain circumstances for your operator, drop some utility over in case he dies, you know? He's going for the aggressive play. Doesn't need the help. He does need the help, though, with the nade, which actually gets him the kill, which is nice because the initial nade, I think teams are ready to avoid that and not give away a free kill on the first nade, but you're not really expecting the re-nade to break open the smoke a second time, and he hits a pretty nice shot on his Zayu there. And by the way, respect for having the Guardian gold on your op. That's Naf's op. Is that a gold? I think that's the gold. He's got a Guardian and a Monacy. Oh, baby. Guardian Monacy? I like it. But I'm not going to review this whole game, despite the fact that somehow he has an op this entire game. But I'm not going to review the overtime. I just wanted to take a look at what he's looking like against top teams on Anubis as well. And it's looking fairly similar. Although he does make noise dropping off there, which certainly doesn't help the case. Doesn't land the shot, which would have been pretty helpful. I think the nade actually nades that gun back to him, doesn't it? Does it? Does it? Oh, I think it naded. Oh, it naded it the other direction. That's a shame. He definitely, I think, had a chance to grab a kill there, although it wasn't the easiest shot ever. But that round might have gone slightly differently if he had managed to silent drop off of his teammate's head instead of making noise there. Although maybe his teammate wasn't crouched, right? Like, Yukindor has to crouch for him to silent drop. Maybe that's not part of their plan, and so he just doesn't have a chance. And then he misses a shot. That's an unfortunate situation. I would say my admittedly limited research, I would say that perhaps Ultimate, I would put the odds in the favor of he is getting countered a little bit. And that he might go for some of the same plays a little bit too often, and he might just go for aggressive plays a little bit too often. Because, again, there's only so many aggressive plays you can be going for on any given map. So is he overrated? I was going to make that the title. I'm not sure I will. You'll know when you're watching this. I think he's got a lot of potential upside if he can actually balance it out a little bit and maybe find a little more consistency in landing the easy shots that he sometimes misses.